A central Paris railway station at the height of the rush hour. Thousands of passengers head for home. Suddenly, a runaway train hurtles towards the station. "307 tons of crashing metal slam into a packed commuter train. 56 people die. It's Paris's worst ever train crash. Now, using advanced computer simulations, we reveal exactly what led to tragedy at the Gare de Lyon. Disasters don't just happen, they're a chain of critical events. Unravel the clues and count down those final seconds from disaster. Europe. France. Paris. June 27th, 1988. A summer's evening in the French capital. Paris is the focal point of the French rail network. The French are proud of their rail system. It's one of the biggest in Europe, with over 34,000 kilometers of track. With state funding and an ongoing modernization program since the early 80s, the system is increasingly high-tech and efficient. 6:20 p.m. The 5:38 inbound commuter service from Melun to Paris Gare de Lyon station is running on time. It's a 40-kilometer journey, which takes 50 minutes. It's an 8-carriage train. And in the driver's cab is 42-year-old Daniel Solin. He's worked for SNCF, the French National Railway, since he was 15. Jean Beauvais is the guard on the train. He's another old hand who also joined the SNCF straight from school. So far, it's been a routine trip. But at 6:36 p.m., 8 kilometers outside Paris, as the train passes through Vert de Maison station, something unexpected happens. A young woman in the second carriage leaps up and pulls the emergency cord. A bell in Solin's cab tells him someone has pulled the cord, automatically activating the brakes. The woman slips from the train and disappears. Before the train can set off again, Solin needs to reset the alarm and rearm the brakes. It's an all too familiar procedure. It should only take a few minutes, but nevertheless, Solin radios the control room to alert them to the holdup. 6:40 p.m. Most of the passengers, fearing a long delay, leave the train to find another way to complete their journey. The remaining few resign themselves to a late arrival in Paris. Solin and Beauvais set about rearming the brake system so the train can continue its journey to Gare de Lyon station. Gare de Lyon is the Paris rail station serving the south and east of the country. Behind its magnificent 19th century exterior lies one of Europe's most sophisticated rail hubs. It's one of France's busiest railway stations, with a mixture of intercity service and commuter trains serving the suburbs. The nerve center, coordinating all train movements, is the station's control room. Duty manager tonight is André Tollens. He's in charge of safety and ensuring that the 360 trains into and out of the station run as smoothly as possible. Always at the back of his mind is the threat of terrorism. For the past 7 years, Arab militant groups have been targeting Paris. They're protesting about French troops in war-torn Lebanon and demanding the release of Arab prisoners. Many of the attacks have been on trains in and out of the city. 6:45 p.m. Hurrying towards Gare de Lyon station to catch a train home is commercial assistant Colette Pacalet. She was late leaving the office and worries she'll miss her train. Colette is a recently divorced single mother, and she's anxious to get back to her son, 13-year-old Nicholas.
When I finish work, I automatically hurry back to take care of my son. I fix him something to eat and help him with his homework.
40-year-old Dominique Pavy, who works at the Louvre Art Gallery, is also rushing to catch the same train. Like thousands of others, she's still grappling with the new summer timetable. With new train times and altered routes, it's a recipe for confusion and missed trains. 7:02 p.m. Solin has now fixed the brakes and the train is ready to depart for Paris. But it's taken him much longer than expected. The train is now 26 minutes behind schedule. Controller Tolance instructs Solin to skip the next scheduled stop, Maison-Alfort, and travel non-stop to Gare de Lyon to make up time. But Solin's late train isn't Tolance's only headache. 7:04. There's now a problem on one of the commuter trains due to leave Gare de Lyon. It's the train that Colette and Dominique are rushing to catch. Commuter trains have a driver and a guard. Driver André Tanguy is ready to go, but the guard is running late. Without him, the train can't leave. It's good news for single mother Colette Paquelet. She was worried that she would miss her train, so she's relieved it hasn't left. She even manages to secure her usual seat in the front carriage. The delay means more people pile onto the train. Another late arrival is Dominique Pavy.
The train was packed. It was hot because it was summer. And being underground, it was hot and sticky.
All the passengers and their driver Tanguy can do is sit and wait for the guard to arrive. Their outbound train is on platform 2, the same platform that the late-running inbound service from Melun is due to use. But they needn't worry. Signalers have pre-programmed a set of points to prevent Solin's train from going into platform 2. 500 meters before it reaches the station, the points will automatically switch, sending the train into empty platform 1 instead. 7:07 p.m. Solin's inbound train is now traveling at over 95 kilometers per hour. A yellow signal warns him he should start to slow down. Just ahead is a steep gradient leading into Gare de Lyon station. He applies the brakes, but there is barely any response. To his horror, Solin realizes that his brakes aren't working. He can't slow his train down. The 300-ton train is hurtling out of control. It's less than 2.5 kilometers to the packed rush hour station. A runaway train with defective brakes races towards Paris's Gare de Lyon. It's rush hour, and the station is packed with commuters, including those waiting on a delayed outbound train. Daniel Solin, the driver, is getting desperate. He knows there should be a handbrake somewhere on the train. Guard Jean Beauvais hurries to look for it.
We asked ourselves what was happening to us. We tried the brakes, but there was no response, so I decided to go down the train to look for handbrakes.
Solin keeps trying the brakes. It slows the train, but only a little. 7:07 p.m. and 30 seconds. Solin radios a desperate warning to the control room.
Stop everything, I've got no brakes. Stop everything, I've got no brakes.
Panicking, Solin hits the train's radio alarm signal. It can't be heard by passengers who are still unaware of the danger. But it activates a high-pitched audio alarm in the Gare de Lyon control room and the drivers' cabs of all the commuter trains within the vicinity. Immediately, signalmen turn every green light to red. drivers stop their trains wherever they are. Within seconds, the entire network grinds to a halt, apart from one train. Unable to do more from his cab, Solin hurries the remaining passengers to the rear of the train. At Gare de Lyon, the guard on the delayed outbound train has finally turned up. But now driver André Tanguy's signal switches to red. He has no idea what's going on, and the high-pitched whistle on his radio means he can't use it to find out. "7:08 p.m. The runaway train hits the beginning of the steep 4-degree gradient that leads into the station. It picks up speed on the sharp descent. Driver Solin manages to get all the passengers into the last carriage. They brace themselves for the inevitable impact.
There was a lot of panic.
Train guard Beauvais is still desperately searching for a handbrake.
I asked myself what was going to happen to me. Was this going to be my last moment?
"7:08 and 15 seconds. At Gare de Lyon station, André Tanguy is still not sure why he's stuck on a red light. In the second carriage, passenger Dominique Pavy has had enough of the wait.
It was difficult to get off the train, as there were so many people. Excuse me, excuse me.
Dominique has to squeeze past other passengers to get to the exit. 7:08 and 30 seconds. Signal operators catch sight of the runaway train rushing past them. Instead of being routed to empty platform 1 as planned, it's heading straight for Tanguy's packed commuter train. The signalmen immediately issue a warning over the station's public address system to evacuate the train.
Attention, attention.
André Tanguy hears it. He shouts over the train's intercom to evacuate the train fast. Passengers scramble to reach the doors. 7:08 and 45 seconds. Tanguy sees the runaway train heading straight for him. But he knows his train must still be packed with people trying to get off. Instead of jumping clear, he bravely stays on the intercom, repeating his warning to passengers. Seconds later, 307 tons of runaway train smash into the commuter train on platform 2. Dominique Pavy leaves the train just in time. She feels the impact of the massive collision just meters behind her.
There was a great black dust cloud, a horrific black cloud that was suspended around the train. I could hardly see anything. The dust fell pretty quickly, and it was then that I realized that one train had run into another. And the train that came down from the tunnel had split the first carriage of my train completely in two.
On the runaway train, all the passengers have made their way to the rear. Most escape without serious injury.
At the moment of impact, I was walking into the last carriage. I heard a great noise and felt a small shock. I didn't even fall over. I just grabbed a railing.
But those still on Tanguy's stationary train do not fare so well. Tanguy doesn't stand a chance. The impact kills him instantly. Single mother Colette Paquelet is in the front carriage, which takes the full impact of the crash.